Hello and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are
the Yerky Boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did it.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
We're here for book 17, The Underground. Pretty big book, I guess. This is the Oatmeal book. If you're a fan of the series, you know what that means.
Even reading it, I was like, I can tell these Animorphs freaks love the oatmeal thing. Like, I just know that this is a thing.
It sure is a thing. I don't know that it's a good thing. It's an iconic thing.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I think love might depend on who you ask.
I can't wait to get into it, but I think we got some business before we start talking about this book today.
Ooh, business, eh?
Yeah, didn't you? You're the one who had the business.
Wait, I did?
Well, it's good thing
yes.
I wrote it down. Yeah.
Yes, I do have it written down. I just had it under the section about the cover. But yeah. Tell me what you wrote down.
Well, I thought last week after the show ended, we got to talking about the name of the book and how we didn't. Last week we talked about the warning, and
yes.
At this point, like I used to gripe about the titles not meaning anything, and now I hardly even think about the title anymore. Like, I don't know that I could identify a lot of these books by title because
I'm not gonna lie, I could probably only do about half.
Yeah, some of them are just so they could apply to anything.
Yeah, like I could tell you what happens in most any number, but if you were to just tell me, you know, the underground, I'm not actually sure I would have remembered that was the oatmeal one.
Oh, the one where they go underground. That one.
Yeah, right.
And the warning was similarly like, what was the warn? Who warned who? I don't know.
Yeah.
But you made a discovery.
Yes, I did, which is that according to Anibase, K.A. Applegate did not name any of the books, like, she didn't name the books, right? I don't know why.
Any of them.
Yeah, like, so, like, some editor at Scholastic or whatever would get her outline and would just make up a name that they thought fit, apparently. It also, in the same place I read this, it said she also didn't name the series. Like, Animorphs is, I guess, not her name.
What? Well, which is it? The first book where Marco comes up with it?
Yeah, I mean, like, it could have just been, you know, I want to do a thing where they turn into animals or something, and then, like, a name got hashed out, so she had to make Marco say it. Or maybe that's just wrong, but...
Yeah, or it could be that she had the word, but she just didn't think she would call it that necessarily.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking, I could easily see her being like, I don't know what we should call him. What should we call him? I don't give a shit. Whatever.
I mean, it does, you know, I like to have this romantic view of K.A. Applegate with occasional help from Michael Grant, just like Michael Grant, right? That's his name?
Yeah, that's his name.
Okay. I just that was the first time it just struck me they have different last names, which, you know, is a common thing, but I'm like, his name should be Applegate too. He should have taken her name.
He should have.
I mean, I would have. Applegate's better than Grant. But anyway,
it is.
This idea of them, you know, just like writing these books in the study, but which I guess is probably mostly true, but there is certainly to some extent, some like corporate kids book boardroom meddling going on because it's Scholastic in making a kids series in the 90s. Like, there was definitely a room full of executives also inputting here.
Yeah, it's so weird because it really feels like there couldn't have been, and it makes me wonder if, like, maybe they meddled with her outlines, but, like, once they settled on this is the outline of your book, they didn't actually read what she did with that outline. I don't know. That could be.
Yeah, I can't imagine it was like I don't think you know, I'm not saying that they like the Scholastic deserves more credit for the actual books, but
no,
there had to be there. I think it's because it was the 90s. People just didn't care as much about things. I don't know. I don't know. I really want it. We need to interview Kay Applegate. We need to get her on the show. I want to know
Mm,
exactly how much meddling was there. How did that relationship work? Maybe there
yeah.
are interviews that have talked about this already, and we'll have to maybe find those for a later episode.
Yeah, maybe like a series wrap up or something will, or
Yeah.
maybe just, yeah. The problem is that I don't really want to bother looking for them.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna look it up. Yeah.
But I'm sure that information is out there. People have talked to her and stuff. So
Yeah, but they mostly ask about like the one and only Ivan and stuff.
right, or what is it like Doggo and Pupper?
Doggo and Pupper. Um, yeah, the
Yeah,
Everworld. What's the
hell
other?
yeah,
What's the one?
Everworld and Remnants were the other two I read.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Now we can get into today's book, which was released in March of 1997, 8. Or
Thanks
98?
for that. I mean, it's good. It's good to have a place for it
Yeah,
in
yeah.
our
Sometimes.
timeline. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is the Underground. On the cover here, we have Rachel morphing into a bat. Um, once again, I think this is not the first time this has happened. What is going on with her pose as a human?
Hmm.
Like, she doesn't look. She doesn't look real.
Huh.
Like she's posed
What do
like
you
a
mean?
mannequin or a doll or
Hmm.
something.
Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying. Like her arms are they're held out in a way you normally wouldn't.
Yeah,
But
and
what's
she's
weird
got
to
like such a
me,
blank
yeah,
stare.
I feel like usually on these covers they'll have their arms in a weird position, but it stays that way for each morph transition. And this one, her arms move up in the second pose.
Yeah, because she's got to start flapping.
But I feel like on most books she would just have them up like wings in the first place. So I don't
Yeah,
know if that's I don't know if maybe I'm wrong, but that's my impression that most of them are like that.
I
Yeah,
I, I think you're right.
yeah. It all does it kind of look like she. Well, I guess she kind of forms a unibrow as she morphs, which is
Yes,
pretty good.
it is pretty good. This middle bat is very good.
She's really this is Rachel going. What does it the kids say? Going goblin mode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That is a goblin mode for sure.
she's really turning into a little Grem.
I love that the
Uh,
skirt is still like completely intact in that.
yeah.
Get like Rouge the Bat vibes or something.
Well, hold on. Don't start talking about Rouge the Bad. I'm gonna lose control on this podcast. Ooh, ooh. When we get to our Sonic the Hedgehog podcast, things are gonna get wild.
Oh boy.
Anyway, but on that subject, I was thinking. Do you think because there's a real each of these kids has a human model they use for these covers, right?
Yeah.
And I assume it's the same kid throughout the series. Probably. I don't know.
I don't know if they change. Can't think of them changing.
But do you think I mean this kid who has to play she's got to be pretty smug about being Rachel because every description
Mm.
of Rachel in these books is just about how fucking beautiful she is.
Oh yeah.
It's like, yeah, we found you're the most beautiful 14-year-old in the world. We need you on our cover. And also, how do the casting people have that discussion? There's something a little weird about like we got to find that this 14-year-old's not cute enough. Rachel's way cuter. You know,
I
that
mean,
feels uncomfortable.
I hear you. On the other hand, that is like I'm pretty sure that's just like always in the discussion for these sorts of things. Like if you were
Mm,
gonna write like a kids show or something and you were gonna have live actors, like I'm 100% certain they'd be like, we got to have more attractive kids so that the kids will
yeah, that's true. I mean, I
guaranteed.
guess all of the Animorphs kids on these covers are pretty hot. So
Well,
yeah. What?
no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Look, I'm not the one who chose them. It's not my fault. I would have picked uglier kids.
Yeah, you would have done like a big mouth casting.
But also, that's right. But maybe like this girl is actually mortified. I don't. Maybe all the kids at school see this book and they're like, you're a bat girl, or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if these kids ever got recognized as being the Animorphs.
That's what I wanted, and I want to know where they are now and how can we get them on this show.
You're really into this idea of getting people on the show today.
I'm thinking, you know what it is that I had that big monster before we started, and it's giving me ideas. It's giving me juice.
Getting worked up over there.
Yeah. Anyway, great cover.
Great cover. Less great quotes on the cover here. On the outside, we have there's nothing to fear but the Yerks themselves. And on the yes.
Yeah, no, go on.
On the inside, it says, there's nothing to fear. Batgirl is here. Come on, guys. Like, two nothing to fear quotes on this. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's pretty bad that they reused. I give them points because at least Batgirl like is appropriate. You know,
yeah,
like
that's true.
I feel like usually it's just some completely unrelated thing.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing to
fear. Guess Rachel's got to wing it.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't just go like, someone's feeling a little batty. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do.
That's a good one.
This is probably when Fern Gully come out. That was earlier. Anyway,
it's got to be.
There's nothing to fear, but fear itself is the original phrase,
right?
Actually, isn't actually we have nothing to, or does he say there? I don't know.
I think this is we have, but I don't remember. Whatever.
There's nothing to fear,
or the only thing we have to, whatever.
Yeah, that's
something like this.
There's nothing to fear, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And like what I mean, even grammatically, themselves doesn't work. It's not. This is not reflexive.
No.
Like where. Is this saying the Yerks have nothing to fear except for the Yerks themselves? Because then it would be appropriate.
Or you could be like, we have nothing to fear but ourselves because the Yerks are in our heads or something.
Yeah, I mean, it should just say there's nothing to fear but the Yerks, which would also just be wrong. Like they almost die to animals like regular shit all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot to fear.
Maybe we should just say fear the Yerks.
Right, fear the Yerks. Fear factor Yerks. I do really like the inside cover. It looks like it's just Bat Rachel in a I guess it's the Yerk pool.
Yeah.
But the stairs in the background looks like the cover of a metal album or something.
Yeah, those stairs are pretty badass.
Yeah, it's great.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good cover. I like it.
She looks happy. Look at her little bat mouth hanging open. She's like, yeah.
I see it. Yeah, this like the front is a little too goofy. It's almost like a metal band did a novelty Halloween album.
Yeah, I do. We should do at the end of the show. Let's do a tier list of our favorite, just our favorite morph transitions. Just
we throw that into the season recaps.
Yeah, yeah. I think we split each, so there's like 5 morph periods on each cover. Mm-hmm. So whatever 54 times 5 is, plus the first book which had 7 or 8, we rank all of those individually.
Every single one. Okay, that'll be its own episode.
Single transition. That might be like a 3-part episode. That might need to be a YouTube video. I think people are going to need to see the visuals as we do
next time we go on hiatus, we will, instead of doing that, we'll just put out a 3-parter that's ranking every single transition.
Yeah. And now that it's been roughly enough time to watch a complete episode of Seinfeld, I think we should get into the book.
That's fair. No dedication, so we actually can go, standard.
None? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, regular.
Whew, scared me.
Yeah. I would have to talk about that. Okay. We've got all right. All right,
Okay.
let's
All right. Okay.
uh so the plot of this book. There is a new Planet Hollywood opening up, and there's an event for the opening with a whole bunch of celebrities going to be there. And Marco and Rachel are trying to convince
Sorry,
Jake.
I'm choking to death on
I
on
would
this
it would
description.
have been fine if you just hadn't apologized. I
I
would have
know,
kept
I
going.
know. I could have even cut cut that out in the background. Like I
Now we're
did.
leaving it in.
I had to. I just had to say something. Keep going.
Marco and Rachel, they're trying to convince Jake to let them use their morphing powers for personal reasons to go to the event. They're saying, oh, poor Axe is so culturally uneducated about Earth. He needs to go to learn about Earth celebrity culture. Um, and they finally agree to get Jake to let them go by telling him that Shaq is going to be there, and Jake, I guess, loves Shaq because he loves basketball. So they go to this event. They're watching the show as birds, and as they're watching, Rachel sees a guy on the 60th floor of the Kenny building, which we have not seen before. He breaks a window and jumps out the window. Right, so there's this guy trying to kill himself. Um, there is like this action sequence where they all grab him and try to like glide him to a nearby river. And once they get him in there, he's like stuck in the mud. So Rachel dives in and morphs Dolphin and then pushes him to shore, where the guy is rescued by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Uh
That's our intro here.
Yeah. Right.
A lot happened there.
It's a pretty, yeah, this is a book. There's a lot going on in this book.
There is a lot, yeah.
I mean, where would you like to start?
Well, I mean, just to start with, the reason we had to put 17 minutes at the beginning of this was to make sure we didn't trip any censors by saying "kill himself." You know what I
Right.
mean? How like the algorithm, they'll block you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, on TikTok you have to say unalive instead
Yeah,
of
we're
kill.
not doing that shit here.
That is, God, it's so fucking stupid. Yeah, so why don't we start with Planet Hollywood?
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot I skipped over there because I felt like we just need to talk about the granular detail here.
Yeah, so this is not the first time we've had Planet Hollywood mentioned in this series. If you
No.
recall, Rachel's father took her there.
Was that book 12 or 7
That
or
I
something?
am not going to remember.
I
But
think it was 12, but I'm not sure.
or did he was supposed to take her there, but she had to do something? It was a thing. There
I
was something
remember we
involved.
talked about Planet Hollywood.
Yes, and I don't people. I maybe people listening to this don't know. I think they still exist, but there aren't many of them.
Yeah, I haven't seen one in years.
But yeah, it's a restaurant just filled with Hollywood. It's basically the Hard Rock Cafe for movies. It's Hollywood memorabilia. It's like a very goofy themed restaurant. Have you ever been to a Planet Hollywood?
Probably not in my memory though.
I know I have, like, there was or is one like by Disney World. Like it feels like that kind of a place.
Yeah.
Not, interesting. It's a real place that she used, not a Amazon cafe, for example.
Yeah. Normally she does use the real places, I think.
Yeah, it seems like if they have to, if it's like an important plot point, that's when she'll use a different name, or if she's gonna say something potentially bad about them.
Mm-hmm.
But is this a thing that ever happened? I'm trying to figure this out. When a Planet Hollywood opens up and they have an opening with a stage and A-list celebrities promoting it and playing music.
Maybe it's a California thing. Maybe when it happens like 2 towns over from actual Hollywood, it's easy to, the celebrities are just like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll come over.
Now, what I did find out just now while you were talking on my phone is that in real life, Planet Hollywood was like backed, like they helped endorse and pay for Planet Hollywood by the following actors. I don't know. I feel like I started and ended 4 different sentences there, but These actors helped pay for Planet Hollywood. Arnold Schwarzenegger
Hmm.
and Bruce Willis,
Hmm.
and they also mentioned celebrity endorsements from Demi Moore, Tom Arnold, Roseanne, like,
Well,
and
they
others.
didn't.
But
The
yeah,
first three of those are mentioned by name as being at this event. So
yeah. Did
in
they
this
mention
book,
Stallone? I don't remember if Stallone
I
was
don't
in
think
there.
they did.
But yeah, so I thought you just pulled those names out of nowhere, but I guess that was based in truth.
Yeah, seems
But
like it.
I don't think they ever got together to do a show at one of these openings.
Well, they did here.
But sure. I mean that's fun, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, notably, someone else is going to be here too, and that is Lucy Lawless.
oh yeah,
For those not in the know, she plays Xena, warrior princess.
that's right. Rachel's role model.
Rachel's role model. Now, Rachel tries to play it cool. She's like, "Oh, I don't really care about that. There's a Ralph Lauren fashion show. That's what I don't really care about Lucy Lawless."
There's also a Ralph Lauren fashion show.
Yeah, like, it's a little crazy.
This makes notes. Who planned this? It's such a mishmash of things.
I think Arnold did. He must
Yeah,
have. If he was one of the funders of Planet Hollywood, then
yeah. I was thinking. So we know Marco loves to quote Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah,
He would
yeah.
definitely be quoting Borat too. And Napoleon
Hmm.
Dynamite.
Oh
He was
yeah,
all over those.
100%, 100%. Yeah. I always like when Arnold or when Marco does his Arnold impressions in the book because she writes them out like phonetically and they're quite good.
Yeah, they are
And this
quite
one,
good.
yeah, and this one he asks who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, and Marco says Arnold, who is Arnold? Arnold is der Mann. That's who Arnold is. It's very
That's a
good.
pretty good Arnold impression you just did.
Thank you.
Yeah, I liked it. It is weird that he throws in the German article. I feel like that is not a common element of Arnold impressions.
That's true.
Like Arnold
Yeah.
doesn't really do that. He says the. He doesn't say der.
Yeah, that's true. He should say dumb on.
But I don't know. Maybe Marco's studying up on his German.
I guess he is. He doesn't say ist der Mann, though.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't go that far.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, anything else about Planet Hollywood? Should we talk about the Kenny building?
Probably we can just talk about the Kenny building here.
Yeah. Is this? I was wondering if this is like the new EGS tower.
I think this is the new EGS tower, and that I don't know if we'll ever hear about it again.
Who's Kenny?
I don't know. I don't know who Kenny is.
Tom Kenny?
Kenny from South Park?
It could be named after Kenny from South Park.
Yeah. Oh my god, he killed himself.
That was that sounded like Kyle's mom. Is that what you were going for?
It wasn't, but I'm glad it did.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Okay. Now, the Kenny building, sure, but I guess more importantly, a guy's jumping out of it.
Yes.
This is a definite. The first real. I think they've maybe had a couple of. Oh, this mission is suicide, but this is certainly the first real act of suicide and dwelling on it in these books.
Yeah, and immediately Rachel is just like super callous about it.
Yes.
Like, I think in general the book is pretty nonchalant about it, and like all the characters are like should be. But out of all the characters, if you wanted to treat this subject with sensitivity, Rachel is not the person whose perspective you want to be using here.
Both Rachel now and later Marco has a couple lines. They are extremely cavalier about suicide, and this is what was last week's 90s thing was the
What, Marco being groomed or something?
oh right the Marco's grooming. This book's thing is definitely just general treatment of the mentally ill. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah, this book gets pretty not great about that.
It's really wild. Like, and for it to just be, it's just in there. Like,
Yeah.
they're really not. It's so crazy. Sorry
Yeah,
to use an ableist term, but go on.
yeah, no, I mean, like, because like, and that is, it really does read like, because you could say, you could try to make an argument that like, well, they're kids, they don't take it seriously, but it really is the book. Like, it's not just that they have these opinions. The book does not treat it with very much seriousness either.
Yeah, I mean, did we just he's just gonna jump out of it? Are we getting to the what happens part yet? Did you say
um,
that? Or
yeah,
that's for
yeah,
next?
that's like a whole crazy bunch of shit where they're. Yeah, I did say about the birds and the dolphin
Okay.
and him
Okay.
getting rescued by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right. So, yeah, like this guy is about to jump out of I was really because first he just throws a chair through his window.
Hmm.
And I was really like, what the hell is happening here? I did not know where this was headed.
Hmm.
And then he's about to just jump out, and then the image of like 6 different species of
Yeah.
birds coming down to carry this guy to safety. It's one of the weirdest things that
Yeah.
maybe has ever been depicted in any book.
And this is not the first time I'm going to say this about this book, but that whole sequence where like they're trying to like glide him to safety and like figure out like, oh, are we going to be able to pull him up in time, and then like coordinate that, and then Rachel's diving into the water after him, and then she's got to morph human and dolphin, and he's like stuck in the mud. There's so much happening so fast, and it's all so crazy that it's like it's kind of hard to keep track of what is going on some of the time.
Yeah, yeah, I felt that a little bit in a few parts of this book,
Yeah, yeah.
where I was like, "Wait a minute, how did they get into there again? Who's doing what?" Um, yeah, it's a lot. I was also when they're like, "Oh, that guy's gonna jump." Axe makes some comment like, "Why would he jump? That would hurt him."
Yeah.
So, do Andalites not kill themselves? He doesn't understand what suicide is, or
I'm
what do we
pretty
think?
sure Andalites kill themselves. But like for honor, you know what I mean? Like
Mm.
a samurai type thing.
So Axe is just dumb. We have
Well, maybe he's
established
like
that.
that wouldn't maybe it didn't even because it's like, well, he would take his tail blade and kill him then like slit his own throat with
Mm.
it if he were gonna. Should we put a
Mm.
trigger warning on this episode?
All right, I'll add this to the beginning. Warning: this episode contains Frank and
I don't know about
uh,
Frank, but like extremely frequent and cavalier references to it.
yeah, suicide happens in this book. But I mean, let's be real. We should have a trigger warning in every episode for discussions of fucking death and PTSD and I mean, and child grooming. There's a lot of fucked up shit in these books.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right.
But
Yeah.
as Rachel
It's just
says,
usually it's all like, oh wow, this is so serious, and not just like this is a direct quote. What is it with people killing themselves?
yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, she says, "How big a moron do you have to be not to figure out that at least if you stay alive, you have like I understand. I think the intention here was to be like it's stupid to kill yourself, kids,
Hmm.
but which was kind of almost an admirable thing in the 90s, but like people didn't understand. It's not like, oh, it's stupid to smoke a cigarette. It's not the same kind of a decision. Like there's
Yeah.
but yeah, it's certainly this is maybe the worst aged thing in all these books so far.
It
I don't know.
it might be. It's not aged well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
And
not,
there's
and
more on that with regard to mental illness coming
yeah.
up soon too. So
Maybe we're making too big. I don't know. Maybe it's not like I don't think it's so egregious, but it is not
yeah.
good.
Yeah, listen, I'm not too worried about us making too big of a thing about it. Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that we like the you could easily be making by just saying like every time Marco goes off about insane, you could be having this discussion or
Right.
whatever and be like, this is not. And I feel like we normally like we might remark on it kind of half jokingly, but normally we're good. I do feel like this book it's a bit much.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, it's a huge part of the plot, and also it could have been. It's not inherently like it's an interesting concept. We'll find out soon why this guy is
Mhm.
trying to kill himself, and that could have been treated very seriously, and still kind of is a fascinating
Yeah.
concept for to explore. But it's just there's this strange layer on top of it where none of them are taking this aspect seriously.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think there's a couple points in this book, not even just with the mental illness, where there's something very serious and interesting, but then it's kind of treated as a joke. It's like treated just seriously enough that you want to see it explored more, but then instead of exploring it, they're like, oh no, but it's just kind of, you know. I think that's a
Yeah.
running theme here.
I just watched Dirty Harry again, you know, and don't worry, this is important.
Okay.
There's a scene where there's a guy who's going to jump off a building,
Hmm.
and Dirty Harry goes up into like the cherry picker or whatever the thing,
Sure.
and the guy's like, don't tell me not to jump, like, don't, and the guy and he's just like, I don't care if you jump. Can you just tell me your name because when you hit the ground, all your guts are everywhere. It's hard to identify you. And then how he gets him is he like punches him in the stomach and punches him in the face so he's unconscious, and he just like drags him onto the thing and takes him down. Just
That's Rachel. That's what
yeah,
Rachel would do.
yeah, it's a similar kind of a
Ki-
Rachel. Yeah,
I mean, it's surprising. You would think that instead of like carrying him to safety, Rachel would have just like flown into the building and like rammed him head first, gone in, morphed Grizzly, and knocked him out or something.
he can't jump if he's being gored by a bear. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And oh yeah, so after they save his life,
yeah,
they don't get credit for it.
yeah. So yeah, they fortunately for them, sort of, they don't end up in the newspaper. Arnold Schwarzenegger ends up in the newspaper here. Um, and where exactly is this line? Oh, do
The
I not have it
headline:
written down? Yeah, tell me the headline because I don't see where I wrote it down.
Terminator becomes resuscitator.
Uh huh. That's
Pretty
really good. There's another one too.
pretty good. Oh right. Schwarzenegger, real life hero, gives mouth to drowning man. Is that what the one you're
Mm,
thinking of?
that is the other one. It's not as good as Terminator becomes Resuscitator, but
And then there's this part where they're talking about Rachel's like, I'm not responsible for him. And Marco, first it says Marco made a back and forth gesture with his hand, which I took to mean like a jerk off motion. I don't know what that means.
I mean, I'm assuming he's like waving his hand, like, maybe kinda,
Okay. Like
or maybe he's waving her off, like, no, no, you're not. I don't know
yeah, I
what that
guess.
means.
Yeah, I guess like yeah, like he's just waving his hand, like
Yeah,
move
what?
along, kind of like, come on, get through. I think he's doing a jerk off motion, but he says, I don't know, isn't it the Chinese who say if you save a man, he becomes your responsibility? Or maybe it's the Japanese, the Greeks? Someone, I saw it in a movie.
Yeah,
Pretty sure he's thinking of the Wookiees.
is that right?
Yeah, because Chewbacca owes
Yeah,
Han Solo a life debt.
yeah, or like Jar Jar Binks.
Right, Jar Jar
As
too.
where it's where they're like, you sir having a life play with this in his sin,
Right,
right? Like
exactly.
that. That's what they say. The Gungans say that.
The
I
Gungans
don't
do
know
say
who
that.
Marco's thinking of, but the Gungan saying,
I often get the Gungans confused with the Japanese.
and or the Greeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this all happens at the food court. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bits. Yeah, Rachel is like really weird about having saved this guy. Like she says at some point, she's like, I don't really care. I saw it more of as like a challenge or something. I don't know what. It's
Yeah.
really weird.
It is weird.
I like when Cassie admonishes her and she says, Rachel, you saved this man's life. Without you, the rest of us wouldn't have seen him in time. Without you, he'd have been a splat on the concrete. You are a hero. A human life was saved. He may go on to cure cancer or something. And you don't remember his name? It's pretty good.
Yeah. Did we say his name?
His name is George Edelman.
That's a little more normal than most of the names.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. That's like a real name, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, and they hope that he doesn't say anything because they don't want to be found out.
Yeah. Now, I should also mention before we move on from this food court scene that we get a bit where Axe eats Cinnabon and also the plate and fork that came with it. I think that's important to note. But yeah, we find out because Rachel goes home and we get like some scenes with her little sister Jordan and all that. And her mom reveals that she is actually this guy's lawyer. Small world. But his family has declared him incompetent and they're trying to institutionalize him. Because not only did he try to kill himself, but he claims to have an alien living in his head. Quote, he calls them Yarks or Yorks or something, unquote. So, ooh, right there. Something about the Yerks.
Was that it?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to. I don't know if I split.
Yeah.
There's so much. It's so when I was trying to split up the sections for this book, there was so much just wild crap that half the time I was like, I don't know if I have anything to say about this other than it's wild, but it's like 3 chapters. So if some of the breaks are in weird places and we move on at a strange pace, that's what it is.
We'll know who to blame.
But we need to talk about Rachel's home life too. So
yes, we get some more time with her sisters Jordan and Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, those are all. I mean, we've talked about this before. We've established that Rachel's Jewish, right?
We haven't established that.
I've established it.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that she is based on evidence from an upcoming future book. But I need to get there to remember for sure.
Well, in an earlier episode, someone told you she was Jewish or something.
Yes.
Because
and they cited something that from a later book that I vaguely... We'll get there.
I'm just thinking about like Sarah and Rachel are definitely Jewish names. I feel, and Jordan. I mean, it's a country that's around there, so that could be
there.
I knew a Jewish kid named Jordan.
Okay, so there you go.
I think that's yeah. I think they're definitely 100% Jewish. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about Tisha? Sarah's friend.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Tisha. I don't think it's a Jewish name.
It doesn't sound. I don't know who Tisha is.
But Jordan's a little sass mouth.
Yeah, Jordan. Because what is Jordan? I think she's 2 years younger, so she's starting to get like. Rachel says like, "Oh, she's not like afraid of me like she used to be."
I love this. She throws out Rachel's leftover Chinese food.
Yeah.
And Jordan says, it was already a week old, duh. It was too old, duh. It would have made you barf up your kidneys, duh. Shrimp doesn't exactly stay good forever, duh. And oh, by the way, did I mention duh? I'm living for this. Go off, queen.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Rachel throwing a tantrum, being like, I want my Szechuan shrimp. Give me Szechuan shrimp. I'm pickle-ree!
Yeah, that was really good. Why was there Szechuan sauce on that show?
I don't know.
They like, because he goes to another, because that's the nugget that was discontinued. Okay,
it was some, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's like we said, there's some more hilarious ableism here.
Yep, it's gonna get real bad in a second, but
well, at least Rachel's mom does say, "Don't say wacko."
Mm-hmm.
Mentally unbalanced will do fine.
Hmm.
which I guess nobody really says mentally unbalanced, but I guess that's okay.
Yeah, I mean that feels like something that like nowadays you'd be like, what, you can't just say like mentally ill or something like that. Feels a little like you're trying to get away with something. But like I could see it if like I don't know, that kind of political correctness was less of a thing. That maybe
Yeah.
you would just be like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
I mean, Tobias literally uses the phrase. He says it's not politically correct to call nuts nuts,
He sure does say that coming up.
which
Oh,
is
really hone in on that one.
Yeah, well, do you want to talk about it now, or you want to?
Yeah, sure. Let's. Well, you know what? Let's just talk about them talking about nuts in this upcoming scene. Because we could definitely spend some time on this. Because they're gonna break into the mental institution, and before they actually do their whole, because it's again a huge series of just like wacky escapades of them trying to get in as animals. But like sitting outside, they're making a whole lot of jokes.
Yeah.
And like some of them are fine. Like when Marco's like, I always suspected I'd end up here, it's fine. Like it's kind of funny. But Cassie comes in to say like, oh, that's not, I don't think they'd like that very much. And you get a whole bunch of jokes. Rachel like, it'd have to be nuts to want to be called nuts. And the one that Tobias said specifically, it's not politically correct to call nuts nuts. Like that one right there, almost that one does not feel like it's coming from Tobias. That one feels like it's coming from the author. Like it's totally fine that I'm writing these jokes.
I mean, I'll
To
just
me,
say, I do think that line is funny.
it is. I mean, I'll give you it's funny, but it also feels sort of revealing.
Well, I think the problem is this sounds like a conversation had by like the characters on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something. Like it doesn't sound like this is what should be discussed by ostensibly likable characters. Like this is
Yeah.
like, oh, these are like funny dumb guys you're not really supposed to like root for, but it's like you kind of laugh
Mhm.
because it's funny, but they're bad people, but you're like allowed to laugh. But
Yeah, but they're not like and like I said, you can say that like they're kids or something, but the joke here is not that they're kids so they don't know better. Like that's not in the text really.
right, but it was just a different time. I mean, even
It
now
was, yes.
we're not that far removed from
No.
this. Like no one would. This is not like if you tweeted out it's not politically correct to call nuts nuts, you're probably not going to get canceled for that. Like that's
Uh
not.
Depends on who you are,
It depends
honestly.
on who you are, but let's say a comedian did it. You know what I mean? Like there are things a comedian
Yeah.
would get a lot of
Yeah.
backlash for saying, and that's not one of them.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
that's the sort of thing you'd get like a small like, dog pile of the day and then it would blow over. Like
like
you'd
all
have to be
things,
like just big enough to have an audience but too small to really defend yourself.
yeah, like nuts is not considered enough. Nobody is going to bat an eye if you say something is nuts, but it's just a certain. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if this is like where is this a terminally online thing, and maybe in real life people would read this book today even, and like a mainstream audience would think nothing of this.
I think,
Or
yeah, no, I mean, I do think you're right. Like, I think if you just showed this to a not terminally online audience, I mean,
or
for one
someone who
thing, they would
doesn't
notice
have
it.
mental illness of any kind.
Yeah, right. So, like, but like, maybe in the '90s, you wouldn't even think twice. Somebody today, I think, would read this and be like, "Oh, huh, that's a different time," and then move on. I do think getting like upset about it is a very terminally online thing. I am terminally online, so I can't help but view it through that lens. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely seeing like, well, and it's not just that. It's it's all of it together. It's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
If it was like that one part, it might be one thing, but it's clearly the whole book has an ongoing theme of not taking this seriously. So
Yeah.
it's hard not to focus on it a little bit.
And we should be able to move on after this bit in the asylum. So don't worry, this is not the entire rest of the podcast.
I do. I'm almost like, is it are we just very lucky that we never got an R slur in any of these Animorphs books?
Well, don't speak too soon here. We still got most of the series to go.
Oh boy, we do. We do. We do. All right. Well,
Bets on
anyway.
whether it's Marco.
Where are we
Uh,
at?
so they have their shenanigans. They're breaking in. I don't know how much you'll have to say about these specific shenanigans, but they they are gonna they got to get into the Rupert J. Kirk State Mental Health Facility. I looked this up. This is not a real guy or a real place. Um, so
Very specific.
yeah, I don't know.
They
It's
made that up. Like, is that a protected name? They changed it.
I don't know, but
It's certainly a Star Trek reference, but
yeah, that's true. But yeah, they here's the shenanigans. They morph seagull and fly into a food delivery truck where they then morph human and then roach. There's like a whole thing where there's a tarantula in there with them, and Rachel almost gets eaten, and then Tobias ends up swooping down and grabbing the spider off her. So then, once they're in the building as roaches, we get some scenes with them going through the walls, and Cassie and Marco are outside, and they can see like where his room is through the window, so they can sort of direct them where they need to go relative to the building. So once they get there, Rachel demorphs in his bathroom and asks his George Edelman's roommate to go get him. And we get and I do think this is funny, a bit where his roommate goes, "Are you real?" And Rachel goes, "Just a figment of your imagination." And the guy goes, "Okay, I'll go get George."
yeah,
That's
that's
good.
pretty classic stuff.
It is classic stuff. I mean, this is another one of those sections where just the whole time I'm just like, wait a second, how did what? Okay, so they were birds, now they're people, and now there's a tarantula. Oh, I guess they're bugs. Tobias swoops in. There's a guy getting upset because he sees a spider. I don't know.
Hmm.
It feels like a lot of just like we needed to pad some chapters, so we made a lot of things happen in a row.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like, is there any basis in truth in this idea that tarantulas hang out in banana crates?
I don't know about that specifically, but the idea of like you know what I mean, like invasive species being shipped across borders through like food,
Mm,
particularly fruit
true.
shipments. That's like a big thing. So it wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that was one of them.
Yeah, like you said, it does feel like it's a strange thing that you'd have to throw in there to slow these kids down. We do discover that Cassie washes her bananas before she peels them.
Yeah, I mean, I get it with an apple. You eat the skin, but
Yeah, I mean,
like, would
you know me, I'm a little bit. I'm not like a germaphobe, but I don't with food. I like it to be not gross. I've never washed a banana
yeah, I
though.
mean, the peel keeps it okay. Like, what is she eating the peel?
Maybe like Kevin Smith. I mean Kevin Spacey in K-Pax.
Hmm,
Remember that?
that's a little problematic. I don't know.
Well, it's just that in that movie he would eat. He thought he was an alien. That's that movie. I wonder how that movie's held up in terms of depiction of mental health. Probably not great. It's all about a guy in a mental institution who thinks he's an alien. Anyway, we'll
Sounds
watch
good.
that. This will be some of our bonus episodes coming for the
Okay,
future.
sounds good. Yeah, we'll get some
um,
bonus episodes set up.
and maybe this is also to your point about just throwing a bunch of stuff at these kids. This is, and I've said this before. I'm repeating myself a little bit, but is this a point where maybe do you think Kay Applegate is starting to have regrets about deciding that you have to morph back to human before you can morph to another animal? Because I felt it in a couple other books. I feel like I really felt it in this one. Sometimes it's just so tedious to have to go through the motions of describing and dealing with the explanations of the morphing in and the morphing out. It gets a little
Yeah,
boring to go
I'm.
through that every time.
Yeah, because I feel like you don't even have to. Like, you could just be like, I morphed human and then roach or something like that. But when you're spending like a page or two on each one of those changes every time, and like especially with like, okay, we've done roaches before. Like, we know what that's like. It feels like padding at that point.
Yeah, but that's I guess the question is it padding like, oh good, I have something to fill out the book with, or is it like, ah shit, I fucking have to write
Yeah.
about this because I established it already.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, when I'm trying to bullet point out summaries, it very much feels like, oh, good, I don't have to write anything for these 3 pages. Like, these pages are clear, no bullet points. They morph. So I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah, and there's certainly that happens a lot. Happens a lot.
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to churn out this many books that fast, it wouldn't be surprising to be like, okay, if I can put a morph in the outline, I can fill some of the space and not have to,
Yeah.
like, try.
It does feel like that there are times where maybe she just copy pastes and like fills in some blanks.
Yeah.
But
And similarly, the descriptions of all the roaches in the walls, like, they are cool. Like, it is always fun to see things from the animal perspective, but we've seen it before. I know what it is like to be a roach in a wall. We've done
yeah.
specifically exactly that already.
Yeah, which I think again goes back to most kids are reading these. They're coming out only once a month. As opposed to we're
Yeah,
reading them every week, and they're probably not even reading them month to month. They're like picking one or two up every now and then, so it doesn't feel as repetitive.
yeah, and there's also going to be the big fans are going to be like me. They're going to be the weirdos who are like, I read this book 5 times in a row because it's my favorite. So then you don't really
Right.
notice when you read another book and it's the same.
And as a kid, you probably just love those details, and you're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, this is what I'm buying this book if I'm a kid to be an animal. I want
right.
the full. Like, you're going to be disappointed if they turn into a roach and you don't find out what it's like to be a roach. So
That's true. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
Which
I get it.
yeah, buy the book with the fly on the cover, I guess, if you want to see what it's like to be a roach.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have our issues, which I'll bring up later in this book too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh yeah. All right. So here's we can get to the actual plot, and this isn't just us taking forever to get to this plot point. The book takes you're like a third of the way through the book at least before we
yeah,
hit what the
a little more.
major thing is. So Rachel's in here. She introduces herself to Edelman by saying she's helping his lawyer with his court case, and he doesn't really know what's going on, but he just kind of rolls with it. I guess being in the institution is making him be like, "Whatever you want, kid. I don't, whatever."
He's really
Um,
willing to go along with it.
yeah, like whatever. Because Rachel's like, "I'm actually 25," and he's like, "Sure." um,
Yeah, we've seen the
but
cover. We believe it.
Yeah, but she asks him why he tried to kill himself, and he starts explaining like about like he has a yerk in his head and like what yerks are. He's like interrupted by like an outburst of like spasms and yerkish raving and stuff. He says that the yerk won't come out of his head because the yerk itself is insane. Rachel then reveals that she knows about this by asking how the Yerk stays alive without Kandrona rays, and Edelman, thinking she's an Andalite, tells her, uh, after the Animorphs destroyed the Kandrona, you remember that, back in Book 7, the Yerks discovered a human food that could keep them alive without the Kandrona, but the food ended up being extremely addictive, and over time, it actively replaces part of the Yerk's brainstem, like seriously fucking them up. It's oatmeal. Specifically, instant maple and ginger flavor oatmeal. No other kind of oatmeal works. So if the human host eats instant maple and ginger oatmeal, it fucks up the yolk and does all this stuff. So we find that out, and the next day in the barn, the Animorphs all like discuss what to do about it. There's a bit of a conversation about the ethical concerns of using this as a weapon, but in spite of that, they end up deciding to try to get a whole bunch of oatmeal and bring it down to the Yerk pool and feed it to a bunch of controllers. So that's what we're doing this book. It's the oatmeal book.
It's the oatmeal book.
Sure
Oatmeal.
is.
Oatmeal. So, So,
Mm-hmm.
you ever have maple and ginger instant oatmeal? I didn't know that existed. What, maple and ginger flavored oatmeal? What even is that?
It sounds good. I would have it.
I don't like even maple oatmeal. I'm like, I guess I can see that. I don't know
Really?
that I've. It doesn't. I
I
don't.
had instant maple oatmeal all the time.
Well, here's the truth. I'm not really an oatmeal guy. I was never. I mean, oatmeal is fine, but I never like ate it
Mhm.
regularly, so I don't
As a
know all the
kid, I really
oatmeals.
liked it. I haven't had it though since a long
The
ass time, and I think I
dinosaur.
put like buckets of sugar in it too. So
Right. Yeah, that's you like it hot. You like it hot?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Not in the pot 9 days old.
The only time I ever had oatmeal is like if I, at a hotel or something. Like it's not something I ever had around my house. But
Hmm.
anyway, that's not really important.
No.
Uh, what's important is that it drives Yerk slowly insane, but
Yes.
it also sustains them, replaces Kandrona rays.
Yeah.
And this Yerk that's in this guy's head, um, so it's gone insane, but it doesn't leave his head,
Yeah, like
or
won't leave his head, and it's not good at controlling him, I guess, except sometimes it like comes in ranting and raving.
there's a lot of
Part of its brain is
questions.
missing.
There are questions that I didn't really come up with while reading this because they kind of just keep moving, but examining it from afar, a lot of it doesn't quite hold up to scrutiny.
I mean, the fact that it replaces their brainstem, I'm just thinking out loud here, that does track with the Yerk being unable to control its host or leave. Like that would get rid of
Yeah.
some of the like physical function of its body.
Okay. So I can buy that, and I can buy that the Yerk is losing its mind, so the guy has some control, etc. The the thing that's really the issue at the heart of all this is the oatmeal.
Hmm.
Like,
Right.
it really seems like it could be, you could have made this some kind of a chemical. Why, what on earth would be, literally, what on earth would be in maple and ginger instant oatmeal that has this effect on Yerks that's not in any other food?
Canon answer, they don't know.
It's just some chemical.
Yeah, they specifically say like it can't be any other flavor and it's got to be the instant kind.
Yeah, yeah, and it's, well, it also, it does make you ask. I guess the Yerks have been covering this up the whole time because this is not like the
Yeah.
first they know about this problem.
Yes.
We'll find out. It kind of made me think of the movie District 9, when how the prawn aliens are like, they kind of have a similar relationship with cat food. I don't know if you remember that.
Not really.
Yeah, I think they are like addicted to it in the movie. They kind of treat it like a sustenance and almost a little bit like a drug. Like they love wet cans of cat food.
Mm.
So that's like a silly thing that's thrown into a relatively serious movie. So I it's not. I don't know. How do
Yeah.
you feel about oatmeal? Is it too silly for you, or what do you?
I mean, I don't think the idea of oatmeal is too silly because like you can you can have something really stupid and then laugh at how much of a joke it is, but then also treat it seriously within the work. You can even have the characters within the work lampshade how stupid it is and then treat it seriously. Um, it does seem like it's almost treated seriously enough in the book. It's serious enough to the point where I want it to be more explored, and it doesn't help that it's just like this is the first we're hearing of it, right? We don't see other cover-ups happening. We've had a ton of books to see the Yerks like handling, the fallout from the Kandrona, and we had multiple books where they were handling the fallout from the Kandrona, but we never heard about this or saw this until now. Um, and we won't. We're not really going to hear about this in a practical sense moving forward either. I'll just like they will reference the oatmeal quite a few times, but like we're never going to see the oatmeal again. I'll just tell you that right now.
That is a damn shame. That is a damn
Yeah.
shame. But
And that might have helped a little bit with that issue.
I think it's just the fact that it's clearly meant to be funny. The fact that
Yes.
it's so specific
Yeah.
that it does. I'm sort of on the fence about it because I'm like, it definitely does undercut some of the seriousness later on,
Yeah.
but I'm not. It's not like it can't be a little bit silly. It's more just. I don't know. I wish it was maybe something different. Maybe something either a little less specific or just a little less. Even if it was just instant oatmeal, maybe it's the maple and ginger part that's just like one step too far. I
Mm.
don't know.
I don't mind that. I wish this book did the balancing act a little bit better. Like the serious aspect was just a little bit more explored. Or because if you make the oatmeal more serious, you kind of have to just take the joke part out. Like this has to be like a very like grave, dark book, and I'm fine with it being a
Mm.
stupid joke book. Um, like I said, or even if they just cut the exploration out and they just said like this is a dumb book. Okay, this is another book like the stupid. There's the
No.
Andalite toilet, haha. It would be like, okay, sure, this is a joke book. It's fine, whatever. But I don't know, it veers just a little too serious and then doesn't explore it enough for me,
Yeah. No.
personally.
Yeah. I kind of. I see where you're coming from. I don't I don't want it. I don't want them to go stupider with it. I also do like. I mean, there is something like you said. I can understand why this is iconic because it is
Yeah,
specific enough that it's like if you see a picture of maple and ginger instant oatmeal,
yeah,
it's going to only evoke one specific thing if you're an Animorphs fan.
yeah. And yeah, and it is also like a if you know you know type thing, right? Like you'll be like
Yeah.
oatmeal, and and if you don't know what the hell oatmeal is, you would never guess what it is.
So I'm definitely I'm leaning towards I like it more than I dislike it, but it's
Mhm.
definitely not like it's total home run. It's
Yeah. No,
I don't
I
know.
I think I really like the concept, but I think the book itself falls a little short of the concept for me.
Yeah, I mean it does have to be a food specific enough that like the Yerks wouldn't be eating it all the time.
Hmm.
So I kind of get that too
Yeah.
from that angle.
And I can't let go of like now that I have that iconic oatmeal, I don't want to give that up, right? Like there's always been an oatmeal book ever since I was a little kid. We're just not going to have the oatmeal book.
You got to have it.
It's going to
And
be like a
this
normal thing. The
I mean what's
drug PSA book now. This sucks. It should be oatmeal.
it'd be funny if it just was heroin. I mean, they don't, what do they need oatmeal for? That's probably the same effect would happen if you just poured heroin in this pool, right? Any like Yerks are susceptible to our drugs too. I don't know.
I'm
Um,
gonna ask you a question. What is the hardest drug that a Yerk canonically does in the Animorph series? I want to know if you can answer this. I'm gonna keep track of your answer, and we're gonna see if you get it right.
what on earth? I can't imagine they do any drugs. Are we counting tobacco or caffeine?
Whatever
Or
you want to count.
I can't imagine. There's no way they use the phrase marijuana in any of these books. I just don't think they do. Maybe like I could almost see cocaine happening before marijuana. I guess my guess will be cocaine. I think
Okay,
I,
okay.
I think Visser Three's twin brother maybe is gonna snort some lines.
I will keep your answer pinned, and
Okay.
when it happens, when the thing happens, you'll be like, okay, so this must be what you were referring to, and then you'll know if you were right or wrong.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I do also. It maybe is all worth it for this because this is a very funny conversation when they're trying to figure out why the oatmeal has this effect, and Tobias says maybe it's the maple.
Yeah.
That's funny enough, but then like Rachel says maybe it's the ginger or maybe it's the instant.
Yeah, that is good. That is very funny.
So I like it. I like it.
Yeah. So let's talk about the ethics of the oatmeal problem and
Yeah.
how the Animorphs discuss the ethics of the oatmeal.
How many? If I had a dime for every ethics class I took in college that started with, let's talk about the oatmeal problem today.
Yeah, it's like the trolley problem, the oatmeal problem, all of the
Yeah.
classics.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, we get some of the standards. Rachel is like, let's just do it. Fuck the Yerks, fuck the hosts, who cares? Tobias does not want to do it. He keeps like actively referencing drugs. And I'm wondering if he's maybe sensitive to this in particular because maybe like his fucked up family had some kind of drug issue. I don't know.
Could see that.
Um, Axe also doesn't like it. He kind of acts like maybe Andalites have a leg to stand on here, but I don't know that they do. Um, Marco refuses to engage with the question because it's too stupid. He's like, "It's oat freaking meal," I think is his quote.
Yep.
Now the two really interesting ones are Cassie and Jake, right? Because I bet you were shocked by Cassie's reaction to this, or
Yeah,
maybe you
maybe.
don't remember.
I don't. Well, I'm looking at it now. Well, she doesn't know what to do, right?
Yeah, Cassie, instead of saying the obvious that this is like wrong, Cassie says like, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't have an answer on right and wrong. Like I don't fucking know. It's
Mm.
all too complicated. Um like Cassie has been affected by the end of last book. Her moral compass
Mm.
is like she doesn't know what to fucking do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
No, that's interesting.
I think that's really cool. I like seeing that hold over from there. I thought maybe you would like this more cynical Cassie who didn't have anything to say about right and wrong.
Yeah, I guess I was so like thinking about the big picture
Mm.
of the oatmeal problem that I wasn't as much looking at their individual response, except for Marco, who I did think
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm a Marco, oat freaking meal.
Oh, freaking
I like
meal.
that, but yeah, I agree. This is a nuanced. I like a Cassie who is conflicted as opposed to a Cassie who is arrogant and thinks she knows the right answer and is morally superior.
Yeah. Now, I do think Cassie is always more conflicted than that. She just doesn't come off that way.
I thought you were going to say you think she's always correct and morally in the right.
No,
Um,
no.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so this definitely made me think most of Andalite Chronicles with the whatever that chemical weapon was that
Yeah.
what's his name used,
The
Alaram.
quantum virus.
Yeah, feels like a similar territory is being
Yeah.
covered here, and yeah, I mean it is a complicated issue. This isn't something that I think there is a right or wrong answer. Maybe that's why I just like it makes sense to me more than I get mad about is it ethical to morph a dolphin or whatever? Because to me, I'm like, it's fucking
Yeah.
obvious. It's stupid. But this I understand the moral quandary. Even though I do think Rachel has a point when she says like, what's our what's our end goal here? Like we're
Hmm.
at war with them. We're trying to kill them all.
Hmm.
Like this isn't this is an alien invasion. This is not the same thing as like an Earth war where maybe there's a hope of compromise or something. Like we have to use every weapon we have at our disposal.
Hmm.
I mean, I ultimately come down on that side. I think, but
Hmm. Well, let me talk about Jake here because Jake says some stuff, and I like when I sat down and thought about what Jake said here. I was like, "This is some serious bullshit, and it doesn't work at all, and it doesn't make sense, and it also doesn't even feel like it feels like again, Kay Applegate wrote this, not Jake, and it's just wrong." um, because
yeah.
so Jake says. In the Civil War, they were ending slavery. Most of the Southern soldiers who were killed weren't slave owners, they were just guys trying to be brave. Maybe they could have worked out a compromise, maybe they could have ended the war earlier if the North had agreed to leave some people as slaves. But would that have been right? No. So the war had to go on till everyone was free. So, first of all, The quandary here, to my mind, isn't about whether it's okay to kill Yeerks. It's about whether it's okay to use, like, chemical weapons to fuck them up. A more apt comparison would have been the use of chemical warfare in World War One, which led to the Geneva Convention. If you use that as your metaphor, then, like, it leads you to the conclusion that maybe you shouldn't do it. But worse than that, in this metaphor, the hosts are the slaves, which, I mean, first of all, this is starting to sound a little offensive, but, like, the hosts are also getting fucked, right? Like, this guy's got a Yeerk in his brain forever who's insane. This is like, it's not like,
Mm.
well, what if the North agreed to leave some people as slaves? It's more like, okay, well, what if we just, like, wantonly fucked up some slaves? It's for the greater good. We'll save more of them that way. And that also leads you to saying, well, maybe you shouldn't do it. Like, I don't think this metaphor works at all for what we're
Well,
doing here.
okay, multiple thoughts. I do
Yeah,
think that in general, probably you just shouldn't bring the Civil War up in the Animorphs books. Like it's
that's,
just
hmm
or
I think
even
that's
maybe
reasonable.
even World War, well, just any real wars, like
Hmm
metaphors, that's fine. But these weird, specific real world war comparisons are a little bit troubling
Okay,
at best.
put a pin in that thought
Okay, is that for a later book?
for a later book.
Okay, great. Are they gonna time travel and like take part in World War II or something?
Just
Okay.
put it
Well,
multiple later books.
let me get my post-it notes updated.
Okay.
The cocaine and war. Okay, so that's the first thing, just generally speaking. I hadn't really thought of it. What you're saying makes sense. I guess. So is the idea that once a Yeerk is oatmeal addicted, it just can't ever leave their head? I like, what is the
I
end
don't.
game?
Yeah, I don't know if it can't leave their head or if it won't leave their head, but they do say in this book that they're not ever going to get that Yerk out of this guy's head.
Yeah, I would think eventually. I mean, can't they just stop eating the oatmeal and eventually the Yeerk would die? I
I,
think.
yeah, unless it permanently removes the need for it. I don't know. Like, maybe once the brainstem is gone, they don't need Kandrona anymore, but they're also all fucked up and insane and addicted.
Yeah, I guess it didn't. To me, it wasn't fully clear that the hosts would be
Yeah.
fucked up by this like permanently. So I mean that
Mm.
definitely makes it seem more troubling to me. But I wasn't really thinking about it that way. But maybe that's true. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's something I'm looking at here because like we are at this point focused on Edelman, and he is fucked up. Like he's in control most of the time, except when the Yerk comes in and starts like ranting in Yerkish and everything.
Yeah, it does seem also that Jake is maybe a Confederate sympathizer.
uh,
uh,
it's possible.
no,
You
maybe
never
they're
know.
in Southern California. So
Right,
you know.
right. I don't know what Cala. I don't. I should know more history. I don't remember what the fuck California's deal. Like it would have been like a colony, and I don't. I should know this. I really should know this, but
Yeah, well, it's
whatever.
I mean, it is a little bit disappointing that you don't know it, but it's fine.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Um.
we can't all be history buffs.
Yeah. Now, also, I do want to say here. Farum yeft kalash sip. Sip, sip, the pool. Gahala sulp. Ah, help! Karanch, karanch. Yeft he yarg falorka. Gafresh fit visser. That's what I want to say.
Well, it had to be said.
I think
You know,
falorka might be my favorite Yerkish word.
I think this guy's hungry. He's like
Hmm?
Doritos, Coranch, Coranch.
Oh yeah, yeah, you got it. Now they say in here that Rachel recognizes some of these words as like Hork-Bajirish words.
Yeah,
Uh, and one of them I can't help but notice is kalash, like kalashi.
huh, huh. This guy misses his wife.
Maybe he's saying, I love the maple oatmeal.
Maybe it's like maple oatmeal is bay.
Yeah.
It's bussin'.
Me want oatmeal waifu.
Yeah. That's
Something.
probably is what it is.
We're Yorkish experts.
Yeah, they haven't added Yerk or Hork-Bajir to Duolingo yet, but I'm
Yeah,
hoping soon.
we're hoping. Uh, do you have more to say about this oatmeal?
No, I mean, I think we'll touch on oatmeal a little later, but that's my main thoughts on the oatmeal.
Okay, good. That's the crux of the book, right? Is the oatmeal, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, it is true.
Yeah. So, we get like a little interlude after they've decided, because they've, reiterate here since we spent so much time, they've decided they're going to go down to the Yerk pool and try to feed a bunch of controllers this oatmeal. So there's like this small interlude where Rachel's like a nightmare, and then we see like Tobias coming over in the morning and talking with her. We find out Tobias is regularly over there at the crack of dawn in her room, so that's like a fun little thing. Um, so the day comes, they're going to go down to the pool. Tobias has an entrance for them because that's, remember, what he spends his days doing. To get into the York pool, you go into the McDonald's and you order a Happy Meal with extra happy. And then after you give the code, you go around back to a walk-in refrigerator. So they go in and that somehow takes you there.
That
So they go
explains
in.
why the ice cream machine's always broken.
Yeah, yeah. It's a York pool machine instead. Uh, so if you they enter as flies, and they go in with some woman who's trying to go down to the York pool. But it turns out the Yerks have installed a Gleet biofilter, which is stolen Andalite tech, and it kills any unauthorized life forms. So they have to like fly out of the refrigerator real quick to avoid being killed by this Gleet biofilter. So this entrance is a no-go, and they're going to have to find another way into the Yerk pool. Um, Another iconic Animorphs phrase: "Happy Meal with extra happy."
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like a Happy Meal with extra happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's as Marcos is like, what, the Yerks have a sense of humor now? What's going on?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good phrase.
It's pretty funny. What is a gleet?
It's a biofilter.
Why is gleet a descriptive word? Is that the type of biofilter it is?
I don't know. Maybe it's the name of the Andalite who. That's not an Andalite name.
No, but it is. That's what Axe calls it. So the Andalites
Yeah,
named it that.
the Gleet Corporation made it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
Maybe it goes Gleet, Gleet, Gleet. I mean, that's not how she writes it, but
Because you would just call it a biofilter or a gleet, I think.
yeah, I don't know.
Wanted to
I
have
think
their
you're
cake and
right.
eat it too. I don't know what a gleet is. I do like that we finally got some Rachel and Tobias scenes because I feel like we never get those in their books.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely. And I was surprised he doesn't morph into a boy for her.
That's not what she's into.
That's not what she likes.
That's not what their relationship is about.
I did like Tobias's he knows how to riz it up. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean. I'm
You don't
too
know
old.
about you don't know about Riz?
I do know about Riz, but I'm too old to know about
Oh.
it, so.
Well, I'm just saying Tobias has that hawk Riz
Mm-hmm.
when the first he comes into the room. She's like, "How are you?" "Oh, it's Tobias. How you doing?" First thing Tobias opens with, "Oh, I had a good breakfast, a lucky hunt." Basically, it's like, you know how to chat a girl up. Just tell her about the rodents you just ate. That's what the ladies like.
That's what Rachel likes.
That gets
She wants to hear
Rachel.
about the killing.
Yeah, I guess that's just the kind of relationship they have.
That's, yeah.
Look, I'm gonna say
Tobias.
it every book until we get more. Is that I don't think there's enough romance between these two characters.
Yeah,
That's
I
just me.
would like. It is nice. I would like more of it. Um, how do you feel about Tobias likes math? He says here. How do you feel about that?
Whatever.
He's like,
Whatever,
it's something
Tobias.
that's the same for all humans or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. He's a nerd.
I think he just misses school, sort of, except not really.
Yeah, he's nostalgic for school, but he doesn't really want to go back.
Yeah. Now, what about when they're in this McDonald's as flies, and they're talking about all the things they can smell? It says a pickles, meat, ketchup, grease, special sauce. And it feels like it should have said, all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
It does feel like that, yeah. Well, this was still early internet. Maybe she couldn't look up exactly how that commercial went. She couldn't
Mm.
remember.
Well, I mean, that is the point of the commercials that you're supposed to remember. Like, you got to
Well,
learn the jingle.
I don't remember it. I'm a little
Mm.
younger than you, so that's a little before my time.
That's probably what it is, yeah.
Yeah. We also do we can we note that this is the Yerk pool? And I feel like there are multiple Yerk pools. We've seen other ones.
Yeah, I think they're all, like, small, though. They're, like, personal York pools, or, like, the mothership York pool.
I guess.
This
I
is, like,
guess.
I mean, the way that is described, it does imply they still have not moved out from this town, really.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. But this is from book 1. This is the same Yerk pool,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So that's something to consider. But it does seem like I don't know. I wish it was called like the Grand Yerk pool or the Primary Yerk pool.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, because the one back on the homeworld that a lot of them came from is the Salt Nyar. This one should have a name like that.
Yeah, maybe it does, and we don't know.
Yeah, but they should tell us.
They
We
should tell
deserve
us.
to know.
Agreed. All
Yeah.
right. So how
So,
are they going to get in there then?
well, they can't get in through this McDonald's, so they're gonna.
There's a
Cassie's
bat on the
idea.
cover. They must turn into bats, right?
Right. Well, no, that's not Cassie's idea.
Oh.
Cassie's idea is that they're gonna turn into moles, and they're gonna dig their way down through like 50 feet of dirt. Uh, this is a bad idea for many reasons, which I'm sure our listeners have already figured out. But they they find an old like decrepit for sale house near enough that they figure it's like over the pool, and they start digging from a shed out back. They're digging the tunnels as moles, but it is slow going with them working in shifts and only digging like at like a 6-to-1 ratio per axe's estimation. So it's going to take them like a week to get there. After the fourth day of digging, they appear to hit solid rock about 25 feet down. Rachel goes down to check and finds the entrance to a cave. So they all go down there. They get in the cave. It's a bat cave, so they morph bats, figuring that the bats must be able to get in and out from here. And they're gonna fly out when their echolocation tells them that there's another opening, and this one probably goes to the Yerk pool. So of course Rachel's like, "Let's do it!" Right? So they dig forever, spend multiple days digging as moles. Then they turn into bats to get out of the trap they put themselves in and find a way into the Yerk cave. So that's where the bats come in. But first, I made that sound very short. But we get a lot of mole action here.
Yeah, we really dwell on. I mean, it takes them a week, and it feels like a week of them
Yes.
just kind of hanging out, shooting the shit, taking turns, digging, being moles,
Mm-hmm.
and then dealing with this cave. Which, well, okay, first of all, let's not even get to the cave yet. Let's just talk about the moles.
Right. No, there's too much mole to just totally skip over.
There should have been a mole on the cover of this book, I think.
Yeah. I mean, a mole's not. Maybe they were like a bat's cool, so we'll have our pretty Animorph turn into the cool bat. Like, it would be ugly if she turned into a mole.
Yeah, not like the very non-ugly
Right.
bat person on the cover.
Right.
But that's fine. That's fine. Whatever. Bat was cooler. That's fine. I mean, they probably spend more or the same amount of time as a bat, at least in terms of like book time, not actual time that passes. So it's fine. It's not like out of nowhere.
Sort of, but I also think there's more stuff going on when they're bats, and when they're moles, they're just moles.
True. But it's like, I don't know. I just always feel like the new one should be the thing. Like, it's,
I agree. I think it would be good to have a mole on this.
you think it's a star-nosed mole? Those things always creep me out.
I like
got
those
those
little guys.
Weird little. I don't like their face. It's creepy. It's like a Cthulhu monster. I don't like it.
Hmm.
I do want to see this fucked up bouncy clown Rachel.
Oh yeah, where
There's a
she
part.
yeah tell
Yeah, she morphs into a mole, and it's like her legs just turn into little tiny feet first. so, so she looks just like one of those bouncy clowns, I
yeah
guess.
yeah
Another
yeah
one of those things that is, you can write that to visualize it is so ridiculous.
yeah.
It's
This would
I
be a hard one to do for the show.
Yeah, like it's so, it's, is that hilarious or terrifying? It's such a thing. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, seeing it might be terrifying.
Yeah, they seem to think it's funny. Or they all
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
And I like when they get to be moles together, because you know what? Here's another thing. They don't get to morph enough cute animals. They're always turning into either a vicious predator or like a disgusting insect. And now
Hmm.
moles aren't the cutest things in the world, but at least they get to be little mammals for a little while. I want more of that.
That's true. Yeah, normally it's just like for some stupid shit they're doing at the beginning of the book, like Marco being a dog to pick up chicks, or Cassie being a squirrel to check on the barn, or whatever.
Yeah, or there are birds all the fucking time. Birds aren't cute. I want a cute little. I want them to
Some
be
birds are
cute.
cute. They're not
Eh,
cute birds.
British birds maybe.
If they were like budgies.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Any other mole thoughts?
I mean, I have so much about this, but I don't know how much. The one of the main there's a lot of stuff in here about Rachel like kind of being claustrophobic,
Right.
but and like hating to need to be down there, but like she feels the need to like play her role and push for them to do it. I like when Marco is complaining and Rachel's like, "Oh, I can go first if you're scared, you big baby." And Marco's like, well, "Yep, I'm a big baby. I'm scared. By all means, go first." And Rachel says in the book, there must be something kind of liberating just being able to say I'm scared, like it's no big deal. I can't do that. I don't know why. I just can't.
Yeah. It is, it's a good character moment, but it does feel a little wrong to me juxtaposed against Marco, because isn't, I feel like Marco also has usually a thing of not wanting to look scared.
It is true. Like he had that whole thing in book 15 with the shark. Maybe it's because he was like legitimately traumatized by the shark. And this
Yeah.
one's more silly, so he's like, "Yep, don't want to do it."
Right. Yeah. He's like, oh, they'll just think I'm joking, so it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's his
all the claustrophobia stuff is like, it's good. The mole sequences are, I guess, from one angle, very boring, but I don't know. I didn't. I kind of liked that they got to slow down and just
Hmm.
take their time on something. It's very rare in an Animorphs book for a week to pass.
That is true. I was wondering if this was going to be like the new skunk scenes for you. I wasn't sure, but
No, I didn't mind it because they were, I don't know, they're moving towards a goal. I didn't care about skunk babies. I mean, I was still confused about how do they know exactly where to dig, and what angles are they going at, and how are they just gonna drop 50 feet once they break through? Like, I had a lot of
there is a
questions.
reasonable amount of geometry. I think when I read this as a kid, I didn't really get, because I was like too young to really understand when they're saying like, "Oh, well, it's not. I'm not going straight down. I'm going at an angle. It's a 6-to-1 angle. We've gone down a 40-foot tunnel, but only 7 feet. Whatever." Feet down, and that's how far we are. Like, there's a little bit of math in this section.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's strange. It's a little bit confusing for me as a dumb person. Uh, I'm like, why was this necessary? Why didn't they? It feels like nobody's around. Like, are there witnesses? I feel like they could have just stolen a construction machine or something. I don't know. I feel like maybe it was an easier way to do this than moles, but they're just like, we're just sticking with it.
I mean, like in book 1, they literally just walked in and pretended to also be controllers. You couldn't get past a Gleet biofilter that way. Like, it can't
Yeah,
blow up the humans, right? I don't know.
yeah. I don't know either, but
But
it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things. It's like, how far do you think moles normally dig down? I feel like 50 feet is too far. And then, like, plus, like, there is bedrock. Like, of course they're going to hit bedrock. And then, like, what if the pool has some kind of ceiling on it? And then they explicitly say, how are we going to get the oatmeal down once we have the tunnel? We don't know. So, like, I don't really know what's going on in this
Yeah,
part.
they really have no plan.
Yeah,
It's
Cassie
chaos.
said moles. Cassie just had a mole and she thought it was cute. And she's like, my plan's moles. And nobody had anything better to say. So,
And meanwhile, like during this week of them digging, how many people have been infested and killed or whatever? It's like
yeah.
whatever. But then they end up finding some guano.
Oh, yes. Yes. They drop into the bat cave and. Hmm. I liked that, what you did
Yeah,
right there, too, by
yeah.
the way.
Ace Ventura 2.
Yeah. Right.
When nature calls,
Hmm.
guano, which also Marco would have been referencing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. He should have been. That came out by 98, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Too?
Yeah.
I just don't remember how long it was. The problem is that, like, when you're a kid, it feels like the time between movies is a long time, but it could have been a year, and I
I
would have.
mean, yeah, Ace Ventura 1 was I think 94, so
That
I'm
sounds
sure
right.
it came out,
By 98, it's gotta.
had to have come out. Um, yeah, so again, so they could have just found this. There's an entrance to this cave somewhere, right? Could they have
Yeah.
just started at the cave?
Well, they would. To be fair, they didn't know where that was, but like, I do think there's something to the idea of like, we're in the cave now. There's a way out, so we can now leave and come back whenever we want. A little bit jumping the gun to just say, let's just go straight to the York pool from here.
Yeah, none of them remark upon the fact like, oh, I guess we just wasted a week of our lives digging
Yeah. Well,
because we could just go here.
they found the cave. That's what they did with their week. But like, maybe this cave is a better way to get the oatmeal in, and maybe you can do it. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't. They don't scout it at all. They're like, let's just go straight into the York pool from here, and then we'll see what we can see once we're in there.
Yeah, and then we get into it and they're like, "Oh, maybe our plan is to just throw the oatmeal in the pool." Like it's like they still don't know what their plan is when they
Yeah, no,
get
like
in.
now they're thinking, oh well, because before, there was that ethical question of the controllers, but now they're like, what if we just throw it in the pool and the Yerks absorb it directly, and then the controllers don't get fucked up?
I just thought that was the plan. The whole like, what were they going to do? Put it in their cafeteria food?
Yeah, they were like, where do a bunch of Yerks sit down to eat? The Yerk pool. Like they say
So
that. I don't know what the plan is not well defined ever.
they should have put it in the town water supply.
Yeah, like a Batman villain.
Right.
It is like a Joker plan. I put evil oatmeal in the water supply.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, now there's a bit here where Jake lists out a bunch of historic battles, being like, there was never any oatmeal in any of these. He mentions like Gettysburg, the Battle of Midway, Desert Storm, Bunker Hill, D-Day. You think he's becoming like a little military history buff?
Oh, maybe.
Like, I
Yeah.
gotta read up on all my military history now that I'm a leader.
Yeah, I like that. I think that would be a good character development for him.
Yeah.
He's got to research. He's got to learn how to do his job. He's the general. He's the
He is the
prince.
general. Too bad he's a general of oatmeal.
Yeah, that is too bad.
But they come out into the Yerk pool. They're flying around, and they get attacked by hunter robots. Which I guess the Yerks have like drones or something flying around to also kill any animals that come. Investor 3 is very big on the no animals rule now.
Yeah, he's like the anti-Cassie.
Yeah. So, like, Tobias and Axe get hit. Cassie and Marco, like, drop rocks on the robots and stuff. One of the robots shoots Rachel and her wing gets burned off and she falls into the Yerk pool. So she, like, makes her way, it's a disaster, right? Like, they come in, they're immediately shot down. But Rachel makes her way slowly over to the pier and demorphs under it and then, like, morphs Ant and climbs up onto a controller to escape. We are in the middle of a section where a whole lot of stuff is going to start happening one after another. So if we like break and then don't have much to say, that's kind of what's. So I feel like I just want to break you. I don't know if you have anything to say about them getting attacked or falling in the pool or whatever.
Well, I think we can discuss how you can't just drop hunter robots on us. Like this has never been established, right?
Yeah, they haven't had them before. They put them in since the last time they were here.
And they just act like, oh yeah, it's hunter robots. I don't know. This feels
There's
like
drones.
a big development. I was like, what is this going to be? There's like spheres attacking them. Yeah, they are like droids or
Yeah,
like I don't know. I'm picturing those things in Half-Life 2 that fly around and try to get you.
yeah,
Or
that's fair.
or, or maybe kind of like a Mortron or
I don't know
something.
about that one.
But I don't know.
Um,
It's just I was just a little taken aback by it. I was like, "Whoa, there's robots. Okay, whatever."
yeah, I mean that's. I was taken aback. This is a part of the book where I get taken aback by a lot.
Did we already discuss get past osmosis nodes?
Yes, yeah. That's what when they're discussing, can we just throw the oatmeal in the yerk pool? Axe says, well, yerks have osmosis nodes. That's how they feed. So like that should work. They'll take in the oatmeal if it's in the pool.
So yeah, we now know that yerks can just a regular yerk can absorb nutrients.
Yeah, that's what they use to absorb Kandrona rays, but also other nutrients as
Yeah.
well. He says.
Yeah, that's what they use to be shined upon and strengthened.
Right, they use their osmosis nodes.
Pretty fun. I like learning more about yerk anatomy.
Yeah, they go osmosis node sunning.
It
It's
reminds
like
me of
butthole sunning.
the fuck.
You know that thing, right? Like where it's like if you have to like expose your anus to direct sunlight. It's like one of these weird like, crystal healing new age type things.
Yeah, no one knows about that.
Okay, I know about that.
Well, now our listeners do too. Osmosis nodes just sounds like he teams up with Drix.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too.
Okay, I'm glad we were both thinking about that.
Uh, but yeah, so Rachel's on the guy's aunt. She gets off of him and demorphs in a storeroom. Um, she
Oh,
finds there's
I'm
these.
sorry.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I just,
yeah.
I probably shouldn't have interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
I guess she turns into an ant because like ants float. Is that
Yeah,
the
and then
idea?
she can be unnoticed. She like floats and then she like climbs up on a guy.
It seems like maybe just be a fly, though. I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah,
makes more sense to be a fly.
that's reasonable.
Okay.
Then we would have had fewer chapters where she rode the guy
Well,
around.
and also I don't know, they make this whole it feels like an exciting moment when she's like, I swore I'd never be an ant again because it was so traumatic. And like nothing happens as an ant. It feels like they're building to something that it's going to be like scary again, but it's just nothing. So I don't know. So I was a little
Yeah,
disappointed about that.
yeah. I mean, like I said, it's just a whole lot of moving from one place to another.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, she gets off the guy. She demorphs in a storm. She finds these. I liked these things, so I want to mention them here. These blue plastic
Hmm.
boxes, and they have a red button on them. When she presses it, it does that like video game like psh, chest opening thing, and she gets a Dracon beam from inside of one of them. So I
Pretty
like
sick.
that part. So she uses the Dracon beam to zap a Hork-Bajir and a couple of human controllers on stun, of course, and steals some clothes, and then goes out as a human pretending to be a controller. She sees that Axe, demorphed now, has been captured by Hork-Bajir. She has this like evil haha Andalite scum conversation with another controller where she pretends to be one of them too. And she learns that they captured Jake and Tobias as well. And she also observes some Hork-Bajir stopping a controller and seizing contraband oatmeal and learns that they have over 200 pounds of it in a storeroom here. So the oatmeal's already here. They don't have to bring it.
Yeah, because a reminder, they didn't have any.
They didn't have any. Yeah, like Marco, I think, has been stockpiling it at home because he does the grocery shopping. But like they didn't bring it.
All of this would have just been, okay, now we just have to turn around and come back.
Yeah, now we got to figure out how to get the oatmeal down here.
Clearly she was like, fuck, I'm almost out of book. It's there already. God damn it.
I know. But she spent so much time on other shit. But...
It makes sense, and I like the idea that there's Yerks that are just, they're like, come on, man, I need my fix. You got any of that oatmeal for me? Oh shit.
Oh yeah, no, I love because this Yerk is like, oh no, it's just raisin bran. It's not, and the Hork-Bajir is like, I know what this is. I can smell the maple in it. It's good.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's a fun little world building thing that doesn't it sounds like won't build anything.
What about so the Hork-Bajir says you're as stupid as the humans with their drugs. Never thought I'd see self-respecting Yerks lower themselves to behaving like humans. How do you feel about the effectiveness of this like PSA? Like, if this is your anti-drug book, don't do drugs, kids. You think this works?
It's about as effective as it being an anti-suicide book.
Okay. Drugs sound kind of fun. I like oatmeal.
Yeah, oatmeal's good. It's funny. If I was a kid and read this, I'm sure I would have asked my mom to get this oatmeal. And I would have been like, I would have loved it, and I would have pretended I was a crazy Yerk.
Maybe that's why I liked maple oatmeal. I don't remember that connection, but I did like it a lot.
Yeah, fighting the war on oatmeal.
Mm-hmm.
I love that she gets a Dracon beam, shocked by the restraint she shows and not just murdering every Hork-Bajir she sees.
Now, I do have a little note about that, which is that the first time she fires at a Hork-Bajir, she sees a power setting, she can't read it, she shoots at him, and then she sees he's still breathing. She's like, guess that one was stun.
Right.
No real thought to that.
Well, we learned that the Dracon beams have the same settings as Andalites in that it goes from 0 to 10 or something.
Yeah, but I don't think she can read the numbers.
But I presumably the closest one is like the start of it. Maybe. I think she could make a guess.
Sure.
An educated guess.
In the book, she definitely does not make a guess. Maybe she could.
Yeah, she just goes for it. It just turns out they're just unconscious. Yeah.
I just like every time Rachel does something like really wild and irresponsible, and that's another thing that's kind of missing from this book. There's some of it, but not as much as the other two books.
She's not quite as filled with rage in this book.
Yeah. She's not as out of control.
And I also, as you said, the Andalite or scum conversation she has, and then that it's a woman says, "I wish I could stay and watch, but I have to get back. My host is a judge, and there's an important case I must prepare for." And Rachel says, "Oh, I think she's lying because she's just she's scared of Visser 3." But it always just makes me laugh that how much being a Yerk controller just sucks. Like you still have to just do your fucking human job.
Yeah. You sure do.
You're like, oh, we're the Yerks, we're the best species in the galaxy, we're gonna take over every planet. It's like, fuck, I gotta do a work meeting today. Like it just sucks.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not great, and that is in between all of the like, oh great, this is our moment of triumph where we captured the Andalites. Better not be around because like this is like exactly the time Visser 3 is just going to be mad and randomly killing people.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, fucking Yerks.
Pretty good. What do you feel about the phrase "dropped like a sack of dirty laundry"?
Didn't jump out at me, but yeah, it's fine.
It felt weird to me.
It's a little weird. I kind of like it.
And I want to address this now too. This is a part for the references at the end, but I don't know if it's if you would have gotten it because had earlier on. You were like, I don't know what earth movers are.
I
Um,
did. I did note earth movers.
okay, so we do have earth movers again. These are specifically Caterpillar earth movers, and that is a brand name.
Oh shit! Really? I
So
missed that.
Caterpillar can go in references. Wow, I figured I better do it early because I was like, that might get missed.
I don't remember. I remember reading earth movers. I didn't remember them calling them caterpillar earth movers. Huh.
Yeah.
All right. I did.
But yeah,
I
they're
did make a
caterpillars.
mental note for the mole section. I was like, they should have just got an earth mover.
Got an earth mover, yeah. Yeah, that's what the
Also,
Yorks use.
I don't know if this is anything, but Rachel at one point refers to Visser 3 as the Visser, which I don't feel like has ever happened before. The Visser.
The Visser. The
Yeah,
boss man.
feels a little weird. I'm like, well, there are multiples, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure, why not? Um, well, the Yerks, they notice that some of their guys have been stunned. They start looking for a spy. And meanwhile, Rachel meets up with Cassie and Marco, who is in Gorilla Morph, and has been calling out to her in thought speak the whole time. Meanwhile, Visser 3 enters. He descends in a bug fighter from a door in the ceiling. So, they make their plan, the Animorphs. Rachel goes elephant, Cassie wolf, and they bust their way into the oatmeal storeroom, fight some Hork-Bajir along the way. Rachel throws the barrels of oatmeal into the pool, and Marco points the Dracon beam at them, and they try to negotiate for the release of their friends, right? They're like, we'll shoot the oatmeal, and the Yerks will all get it if you don't release the other Andalites. Visser 3 is just kind of gonna sacrifice them. He doesn't give a shit if hundreds of Yerks get fucked up here. And Rachel can tell, so she grabs him and throws him in the pool too, where he will absorb the oatmeal through his hooves. So I guess all the underlings, they release the other Animorphs and they all start running. And, Visser 3 is like, all right, now that they're he starts morphing so that he won't, he morphs into, a giant, quilled pterodactyl thing. So Marco shoots the oatmeal and it explodes, and so now there is oatmeal in the pool. Chaos ensues, right? Everyone's going crazy, trying to the Animorphs are fleeing. There's oatmeal in the pool. The Visser's morphing, and the Animorphs are gonna get cut off. So Rachel takes the Dracon beam. She has demorphed at this point because she was bleeding out as an elephant. And she blows up the ceiling, causing a collapse so that they can morph to mole and dig their way up to safety.
This whole part is chaos.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
The K in K Applegate stands for chaos.
That's true.
I mean, I love the image of Gorilla Marco just hanging out, chomping on bananas, waiting for everyone to come find him.
Yeah, no, he's just there anybody hear me? Rachel? Cassie? Y'all out there? Rachel can't answer because she's human.
And it's like, is he eating the banana because gorillas like bananas? Is that a joke, or does he just kind of want one and they're there?
I mean, I'm sure he knows it's funny. One way or the other.
And again, I actually think this whole scene, it's a pretty cool battle scene leading up to the kind of the standoff moment. Mm-hmm. And this was the part where I do feel like just always in the back of my head is the fact that this is about oatmeal. Mm-hmm. Just as I can't, it's 90% of the way there, but I can't quite take it seriously just because I know they're just fighting over oatmeal. It just a little bit hurt I don't know, the weight of it.
I do like that it is oatmeal though.
Yeah, I still like it, but it just was a choice. This is also a scene where I'm thinking, I don't know if I've said this before, but I think Cassie needs a new battle morph. I don't think
you have said that. Yeah,
is on the level of a tiger and a bear. I think a wolf kind of sucks. It's just like a dog, basically.
I mean, they're a lot nastier than a dog, but
yeah, sure. But
relative to a tiger, you're right.
yeah, and when you're talking about going up against Hork-Bajir and shit, it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know, and even and Tobias too. I mean, flying around is good, but I still feel like now that he can morph, he should get something else too. He needs a little
Yeah.
more firepower.
He does start at some point because he's already got a Hork-Bajir morph. I think later on we'll see him
Ooh,
go Hork-Bajir more, but I don't remember how frequently.
that would be good. That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Um.
know. What's your thoughts on this whole like the standoff and the
Yeah.
negotiation?
I mean, it's. I think it's kind of funny. They have this whole thing about like, are we going to use the oatmeal? Are we not going to use the oatmeal? And then they kind of don't. They don't do a great job discussing it, and they're gonna use it. And then they come here, and then there's like a standoff where it's like, okay, well, we'll negotiate, and then they just end up doing it anyway. Um, and I
Well,
think
I
it's
don't. Maybe
never.
you're supposed to think they're bluffing at first. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe they were bluffing at first, or I mean, not bluffing, or like maybe they did intend to hold to the like if Visser 3 didn't. It one of the things, and this is kind of my issue with the oatmeal more, is that like there's no they spend enough time making it feel like the fallout would probably be pretty serious. Like it would be a fucked up thing to do to murder all these Yerks with oatmeal. And then they do it, and like, okay,
Yeah.
like we don't hear about this ever again. Like they blow it up and then they leave, and like, sure.
Yeah, it's not like there was another thing that actually when they blew up the Kandrona,
Hmm.
like it was it wasn't we did see the after effects of that a little bit,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess that this they just we killed those Yerks. Maybe
Yeah.
they
Like,
killed the hosts too. I don't know.
how long do you think it takes to scrub the pool of oatmeal? Like, do you think the
Yeah.
pool had to get shut down and it causes delays or something, or is it just like, some of the Yerks died and then it was whatever?
Right? Yeah, I don't know. Hard to say. It seems they got a lot of Yerks, so they can just fly in some new ones.
Yeah, yeah. I think the estimate was like 500 Yerks or so would die from the amount of oatmeal.
Which does seem like a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how I'm not picturing there are that many Yerks currently in hosts on Earth. I guess maybe I'm wrong. I was to me like hundreds. I guess I might have guessed it was like in the 300 or 400 total. It doesn't seem like
Mm.
it's that widespread, but maybe it is. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I
hard to
mean, I
gauge.
thought there were more, but I was thinking closer to the order of thousands than tens of thousands. Like that,
Right. Yeah, I mean if there's
yeah.
500 now just in the pool on any given day, then
Yeah.
there's got to be at
And that's
least
probably not all of them in the
a few
pool.
thousand out there. Yeah. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
like go in shifts and everything.
Yeah. And there's probably a lot that don't have hosts. I don't know.
I was just like, I don't know. I feel like she should have just, why are we negotiating? It seems like just shoot the barrel and run in the chaos or
Hmm.
something.
Well,
Like
they
just
needed to get
fight.
him to let them go first.
I guess Axe was in a cage maybe
Yeah,
or
he had
something.
like a tail sheath, so he couldn't fight. I don't know.
Right. So I mean, I'm glad that she did just do it eventually. Like I wish there was aftermath like you said, but I was just thinking just do it. Just shoot it. Also, now I'm kind of thinking if you're picking up Visser 3 and throwing him, I don't know, maybe you could also just while you're holding him kill him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it does say that like he whacked Rachel real good with his tail, and she was
Yeah.
like actively bleeding out and had to demorph, or she was gonna die or something because she got hit in the face.
Right, right. Or, I
So
mean, how about if you can aim the Dracon beam at the barrels, aim it at Visser 3's head?
yes, that's a possibility too. You could certainly try that.
Yeah, I don't know. Things like that. Things like that. And yeah, you know.
Yeah,
But it's like I didn't love it just felt like I don't know, we need to have a moment of them talking to each other. It didn't feel I feel like we are past the point of these two parties making deals. Like,
yeah.
and
If
they
Visser
should
Three
just be killing
agrees,
each other.
like he wasn't about to do that deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It brought me back a little bit to the grape juice negotiation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Uh, Now there's a like little bit in here where there's like multiple times where Rachel's like, "Aha, that guy's the spy," and shoots somebody so that people won't get suspicious of her or whatever. Like causes a This is I mean, this is not what you were asking for when you were like they could turn into humans and then you could have like a Mission Impossible reveal or something. But like I mean, this is where you get the potential for that sort of thing that they're sort of
Mhm.
doing. Like she's wandering around pretending to be a controller, making people think that she's on their side. There's something there almost.
I do like it. I love movies that do that. I love video games too.
Hmm.
I love a stealth video game where you're not hiding, but like the Hitman series where you're in disguise and you get to just walk around amongst the enemy and they don't know you're
Hmm.
there. That's fun to me. I like to be a little sneaky boy. So I liked all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was good, but it was very rushed and in the middle of as you
Yeah.
said, chaos. So
There's a lot going on, but she did it and she didn't do any there weren't any dumb bits of like I'm my name it's Blorpus 347 and
yeah,
I don't like humans but
yeah,
They-
yeah.
there could have easily been a jokey part in there. They didn't do that.
Yeah, no. The jokey part is just like she does the controller doesn't want to see Visser 3. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I see what you're saying for that.
Yeah, that's good.
Um, yeah. So we get our final summation chapter. We get yet another half chapter of mole digging. Uh, if you didn't have enough mole digging, so they dig up as moles. This time they have to remorph underground, so that's a little ooh, scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, they leave, and before Rachel heads home, she goes, and we don't see this happen. We hear the aftermath from Rachel's mom, who gets a call from the mental institution. But before she goes home, Rachel goes to the institution and breaks Edelman out as a bear, as a talking bear. She doesn't just talk to him; like her mom reports that people at the institution say he was broken out by a talking psychic bear. So she talked to everybody. Um. Anyway, she does that. She feels bad for him, so she breaks him out, and they all get rid of all their stores of oatmeal because I guess they decided not to do it again. I'm not sure why they decided that. That's not really explored here. And then the book ends with a request to treat the mentally ill and destitute with empathy. It says if you see like a raving homeless man on the street, give him your change. That kind of falls a little flat for me after the rest of
That's
the
a very
book.
charitable way to characterize that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I'm almost pushing it to be more charitable on purpose as a joke because it's like, yeah,
okay.
you're asking me to be empathetic now after this whole thing that you just did.
If you see one of those crazy motherfuckers out there, throw them your change.
uh,
Yeah,
I
and
mean, you
that
should do that, but
sure. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna, but I don't carry cash. I don't carry cash.
right,
Otherwise, I would.
yeah,
um, yeah, that's my biggest issue with this book. Not the glib treatment of the homeless and mentally ill. That's whatever. But the fact that I've said it before, it's the Wile E. Coyote thing of, well, we tried it once.
yeah,
We're not going to try that again. Like
yeah.
this
I think
is
of that as almost like a like GI Joe Cobra Commander type thing or
okay. Well,
Commando
I wasn't
type
a
thing.
GI Joe
I mean,
person,
not
so
not really me either, but what I mean is more like Saturday morning cartoon, which I guess is sort of, but like
sure,
more serious. I guess they're both Saturday morning cartoons from our era.
sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of cartoons will do that where it's
Hmm.
the episodes don't reference each other. It's like, but yeah, it just really feels like, boy, you've really found potentially very powerful weapon against them. But again, I mean, why? Like, couldn't you just say, hey, let's do this with arsenic? like,
Yeah,
like it doesn't need to be. A lot of things will kill a yerk, I bet, if they ingest it.
yeah. I mean, if you just threw it in the Yerk pool, there's got to be a lot of other options
Here's another
here.
good one: gasoline, and then maybe throw a match in it too. Like, There's so many things you could do to
Yeah.
destroy it. Like I think the thing with the oatmeal should be a way to infiltrate without having to go into the Yerk pool. Like if you're gonna go in there anyway,
Hmm.
then you should just be trying to blow it up. If you're trying to like
Hmm.
infect their food supply or something, there it feels like there's a the advantage of that is that you find a way where you don't have to go into the enemy's lair.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I feel that.
Thinking about it too
You know,
much.
it's one of these things. Like they're gonna. I wish that they had spent time in this book talking about why they weren't gonna do it anymore. Because like you could have
Right.
said like you could have solved the problem of like we're not gonna we tried this and now we won't try it anymore by saying what we decided it's unethical.
Yeah.
Because that was a question they had, but that's not really discussed here. And like I said, I think in later books they are going to say on multiple occasions, we found out about this stupid oatmeal thing, but we decided not to do it. So they like whenever they have an ethical dilemma that can get brought up again. But like, did they decide that? When did they decide that? It's not like, and if they
Right.
did decide that, like, you know, not only is it not discussed why they're not going to do it anymore, it's not discussed that they did do it. Like if it's so bad that they're not going to do it anymore, they already did it. Doesn't that have implications? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's oat freaking meal. That's
It's
all.
oat freaking meal. That's what it is.
Yeah. All that said, though, I really liked this book.
Yeah, I mean the book
It's
is fun when it's not dwelling on moles or being chaotic.
yeah, like it's problematic in many ways from a structural storytelling standpoint and from perhaps a moral or ethical standpoint, but it moves and there's weird interesting ideas that maybe aren't explored as thoroughly as
Yeah.
we'd like, but there's good stuff in it, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, like I like it. I can I do not mind looking past the problematic stuff as being like whatever.
Yeah.
It's the '90s. Who cares? But
Yeah.
like, I it is a little bit more for me. Just like yeah, it moves, but it sure does move weird. Um, but like just the pacing is just all over the place. But like I like the ideas. I like the oatmeal. It
It's
is fun.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, we like oatmeal. Let the oatmeal be.
yeah. They do have one thing that I was noticing in this book, is as much as we were saying, well, they never showed this oatmeal before, they're not doing it again. There's a Saturday morning. There's a lot of callbacks in this book to previous books. Like when we're in Rachel's
Mhm.
house, we're talking about book 12, right? We're saying like, oh, my
Mhm.
mom's rebuilding the house. That wasn't like necessary to the plot. It's just like a little world building thing. They talk about with Cassie. They're like, oh, I guess the last thing we did had an impression on her. Um, like
Yeah.
they throw a lot of that stuff in here, and I enjoy that they're doing that.
Yeah, I know I think there were a couple more of those. I know they mentioned Lyrans again,
Yeah, yep. They
which to
brought
me is
Lyran's up.
is funny because if they didn't keep bringing them up, I
Hmm.
would have forgot they existed. Like that didn't strike me as a thing I was think needed to care about going forward, but
Gotta remember those Lyrans.
I guess Lyrans are coming back. And even like I feel like it's not a they don't directly make the connection, but I said oatmeal to whatever I can't remember the name of the thing from the Andalite Chronicles. It still feels like a reference in a way. They're
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, no, Axe did have a whole spiel about like you have to know when to cross the line and when not to, and like he obviously
yeah,
doesn't know that Andalites are pieces of shit about that sort of thing,
but
but
he
like
knows he would have heard that rumor or whatever, right? Like it was
yeah,
a
yeah. I mean, bringing up that question again in the context of Andalites, yeah, it seems like a clear reference to the quantum virus.
quantum virus.
That's what it's called.
So yeah, like there's a lot of stuff in this book, but I enjoyed it all pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
There's also a fair amount of pop culture references.
There are. Yeah, you want to go over those for me?
Okay. Well, Rachel, of course, says that the Earth is under attack, like in some World War II documentary or something, or like in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Schwarzenegger, we mentioned. All the celebrities who are at the Planet Hollywood opening, Bruce and Demi,
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Willis playing harmonica, of course, the
Mm-hmm.
Ralph Lauren fashion show, Lucy Lawless, Shaquille O'Neal, Naomi Campbell and her pores, which they can see as birds,
Mm-hmm.
and Shaq jamming with Bruce Willis and John Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
I like why are they jamming? Shaq plays an instrument. I could see
Why
maybe
Shaq
Bruce
can do whatever
Willis.
he wants.
Bruce Willis had a band maybe at one point. I don't know if that's true. John Goodman was in Blues Brothers, so I guess he can play music, but I don't know. Uh, they reference a Roadrunner Wile E. Coyote moment when the guy's trying to jump out of the building.
Yeah, that shows you how seriously they take it.
We mentioned the USA Today headline about
Mm-hmm.
Terminator becomes resuscitator. Marco says being really lucky would be getting mouth to mouth from Naomi Campbell, who I looked up because I kept thinking Nev Campbell, but Naomi Campbell was a model, and
I don't know who Nev Campbell is.
Nev Campbell is the girl from Scream, and
Mm,
probably I think she was on some teen shows or something in the 90s. I don't know.
sure.
Cinnabon, of course, at the mall. Rachel's mom buys Sarah a Barbie every time she comes home from Tish's house, and this
Mm-hmm.
time it's a lawyer Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
George Edelman appears on CNN. We have another capital D dumpster.
Yep.
Axe knows about the show Gilligan's Island for reasons we don't learn. But Axe, I guess I don't know. I guess when he was in Jake's body, he watched TV. That could be.
Could be.
Reference to sheetrock, recall. We see how many Cinnabons Axe can eat before he explodes, or someone asks if they could. Someone's morphing and they shoot up like Jack's magic bean sprout or something, a reference to Jack and the Beanstalk.
Right.
This one I was confused about. I think it's Marco when they're talking about the
Yeah.
oatmeal, says we have green kryptonite here.
Yeah.
Now, I know there are different colors of kryptonite in Superman lore,
Yeah.
but no one would specify green kryptonite. He'd
Marco's
just say,
a Superman head. He loves Superman.
I guess he really is.
He doesn't want you to think it's red kryptonite.
Right. That would be, everyone would be very confused to be like, whoa, which kind of kryptonite you talking about, bro?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like if I'm talking about the Hulk, right? I want to make sure to specify it's the green Hulk.
Green.
Otherwise, you won't know which Hulk it is.
Fair. The Happy Meal, the McDonald's Happy Meal with extra happy. Marcos does the shopping for his family specifically at Target.
Mm-hmm.
And, Marco doesn't have a mom, but if he did, she would probably call it Target.
That's true.
I mean, he does, but whatever. They talk about the Yerk Pool entrances in the Gap. They again reference Mickey D's, which they go to. I guess they don't get sick of McDonald's after learning about its secret Yerk connections because they go there to get fries and Cokes while
No
they're
way,
digging.
man. Yeah, I want some burger.
the Bat Cave. That's a joke about the Bat Cave. All those references to real wars. Don't know if
I think I listed them.
they're in there. To the Batmobile, Robin, says Marco. Now, when they become bats, Rachel says, "This is so Star Wars. Remember when they're attacking the Death Star?"
Mm-hmm.
So
I wonder if maybe, because like at least that sort of sounds like a real reference, right? Like they're in the trench. I wonder if Kay Applegate saw Star Wars like right before writing this book.
yeah, it still rings a little false to me because to say like, remember when they're like, yeah, of course everyone remembers when they're attacking the deaths. You wouldn't say it that way. You would.
Yeah. Well, this was the first time she'd ever watched it before she wrote this book.
Yeah. I mean, Rachel's cool, so maybe she just saw it for the first time. She says phasers on stun captain using the Dracon beam. She steals a DKNY blazer from a controller. The Yerk keeps the Raisin Bran in a Rubbermaid container.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I double checked. Raisin Bran is a generic name. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if they're
okay.
Yeah, it's not a. Multiple companies have Raisin Brans. Also, her nose grows like some nightmare Pinocchio when turning into an elephant. And that's all I had.
Yeah, there we go. Other than the caterpillar, that's our
That's right.
That's our references.
Good. Yeah, there's some good ones in there. Some good ones in there.
So, if people wanted more content like this, where might they find it?
Well, that's interesting. You can follow the Yerky Boys podcast on Twitter at the Yerky Boys. If you're a fan of the show, you can like rate us on iTunes 5 stars, and that would be.
Oh wow!
I don't know. That'd be nice. Leave a review.
I didn't
or
know
something.
that was an option.
It's an option. It is an option. I wonder if has anyone rated us, the Yerky Boys, on iTunes. No, not the. It's searched for just showing results for the Jerky Boys. Okay, it's not. We are not coming up. When I Googled the Yerky Boys iTunes, it says it looks like there aren't many great matches for your search.
I mean, this is why we picked this name so that nobody could find us. They'd all. Mean?
It did recommend Animorphs Anonymous and Fandelites podcasts on iTunes instead.
Yeah, well, fuck those guys.
Yeah, fuck those guys. So I'm not sure if we've had any ratings, but you could do that. You could help boost our SEO that way. And follow us on Threads. No, we're not. We're not on Threads.
No, we're not on fucking Threads.
But you can email us. Ask us a question. Let us know what you think about oatmeal or any of these other subjects. Tell us if you enjoy maple and ginger. Email us at theyerkyboys@gmail.com. You can also follow me if you want at Quince on Twitter or at Jonathan Estes on Threads or jonathanestes.com, where you'll find links to my other podcasts and fun projects.
And you can find me on Twitter at DogTimesMcGee. I will not be joining Threads. When Twitter dies, I'll be gone. And I'm not actually sure you mentioned that you can find us on Twitter at the Yerky Boys.
I said it.
And all that. You did? Okay.
I breezed past it.
Okay, well, it is the thing you can do for now.
I'm more excited about Threads. By the way, I found just for the record, we have 3 5-star ratings on iTunes.
Wow, hell yeah. We
on
rule.
Apple Podcasts, I should say.
It's because
they don't they didn't write anything, but it's just a 5 stars.
Yeah. I didn't make any of those, so
thanks everyone for listening. Out on July 4th.
Okay, tune in next time when we'll be talking about Book 18, The Decision, in which Axe turns into a mosquito on the Yerky Boys.